Hi, I haven't done a video for a while, and basically it's because I've been spending a lot of times writing some books. I thought it might interest some people in the way that I'm doing it or that I'm approaching it. I've got a bit more systematic about things now and a bit more structured. So I thought I'd show you some of that useful sort of work that I'm doing. Now, the first thing I want to do is drag you straight into a crazy programming thing. But basically, this is just a make file, and all it does is it transfers audio files into text, and it uses something called Whisper to do that. Now, Whisper is a AI system. So, in fact, if we go back here. You can see that all it does is it does Whisper, and then it uses the flags. For device, I'm using CUDA. It's because I have a GPU in my machine, but even so, it's not a big GPU, so I have to use the small model, and then I have to basically use this to convert the file. Now I've got a file in here. It's not a long file, but I can run the command manually. And get it to do it. It'll detect the language automatically. You can tell it what language to use. You can even get it to translate for you if you want the whatever is being said from English into, I don't know, Russian or whatever. And so what it'll do is it'll just sit here, it'll listen to everything, and it'll output a load of files. It'll actually output a text file. It'll output a SRT subtitle file if you want, and many other formats. But you can just let that carry on until you get the text. Now, typically what I do after I do that is I go to another AI and I ask it to tidy this up. So I do this quite frequently, so it already knows what I mean by tidy up. But the prompt basically is, can you remove, make it reformatted, don't change the word, correct punctuation, add quotation marks, paragraphs, etc. And so that's what it does. And at the end, it will give you a fairly nicely formatted file that you can edit and use when you want. Now, this is really quick. So for example, I've got a system that I use, but I record what I'm doing and how many words I'm doing. So, my word count, I used to type about 35 words a minute, which really it takes forever to write a book. But if you can just say it and speak it, you can speak a lot quicker. And generally, you're averaging, if we just do this, the average is 5,461 words an hour, right? So you can do a lot of words in that time. Now, I've got, as I say, a bit more systematic about it. I've got a list of the books that I've written. Do I have a screener copy as an ebook? Is it a paperback? Has it been reviewed on Amazon, Kobo, Smashwords? So I put my books out in a lot of different places, along with the image, book cover image, the URL, etc., etc. Please feel free to look at my books and buy them if you want. I'll put a link in the description to my website. But I have projects for new books that I'm working on that I've either outlined, it's in first draft, it's in work, it's on hold, not started, etc. So, and then I have every to-do I need to do is in here. So if I need to do it, it's in there. If the books that I've already got, I've got them all ready to go. The books that I'm writing, I've got projects for it. I keep track of the sprinting that I'm doing. I've got a checklist that says, right, how do you do it? What's your outline for your templates, that sort of thing. So all of that is here, and then I can track it visually with some charts. So I'm just using Google Sheets for this, and word count, how many tasks am I got done, my ratio for various types of books. Now all that's really useful, but also I have sort of a thing for tracking non-book projects, so things that I need to do or change. I've got a dashboard for that as well, so I can see how many tasks I've got and how many days of remaining work. So I'm just trying to get a bit more systematic about how I do things. And AI has been a really good driver for me to get things done faster. This isn't anything I wouldn't have done already. So all of these sort of sprints that I'm doing, I would have typed all of this stuff in, but I certainly would not have got that sort of speed that I would get with, using an AI to do the translation. So if we look here, you can see that it's created a text file. It's got an SRT file, which is a subtitle file if I needed it. So it's got everything I need here. And it's super quick. It's quick to generate, and it's quick to get the AI to interpret what you said. I used to use a thing called Dragon Naturally Speaking, but anyway, it was not as accurate as the Whisper AI, which is an open source AI that you can use, and so I find that way better, way more convenient as well, because I can just type the command in, forget it, come back, get the text, stick it into another AI, which will format the thing for me, and then I can copy and paste it. So basically what I end up with is effectively a first draft. Let me just show you what this actually looks like raw. So it's not particularly neat, and it's not broken into any, it's just one big block of continuous text, which isn't what you want when you're writing something out. So, this type of thing, for me at least, is useful because it allows me to organize myself into a system, and it lets me see how well I'm comparing myself against it. Now, as you can see, my targets for words are stupid amounts, and I'm not hitting them. But I hope to do some improvements to my system that will let me hit these targets, that will let me start to generate that amount of content. And this is the system that I'm implementing, and I'm doing a lot of continuous improvement on it. Some things I've binned off a lot of these sort of charts that weren't really useful to me. These typically are the most useful ones to me, although some of these don't change very frequently. But having, for example, all the books in one that my company has published in one place has been very useful, and all the projects I'm personally working on in one place is very useful as well. Now, I do use a program to generate these called Scrivener. I'm not going to go through all that. There's, you can find that everywhere. But once you've generated the text, you still have to edit it. You still have to work your way through everything. So it's not a complete system. It won't do everything for you, but it'll certainly help you be more productive. It'll cut down the amount of time. So the amount of time I would have had to take, for example, when I used the Dragon Speaking, I spent as much time probably fixing the text that it had generated than I did, generating it. Now, that was still quicker than me manually typing everything out, but it wasn't that great. This system is way faster because the Whisper AI rarely gets the words wrong. It's really quick, and then the fact that it's unformatted, well, you can quickly fix that with the Chat GPT. I'm not asking it to do anything strange or weird. I'm just wanting quotation marks where they should be, punctuation corrected, and paragraphs, and it does all of that. I paste it into my Scrivener so that I can then go on to editing. So it doesn't stop the fact that you then need to go into a first draft, second draft, third draft, etc., etc. But it speeds up the generation of the first draft, which is really the thing that always took me the longest amount of time. So you may or may not find this useful, but you can certainly adapt AI to help you, in your daily work. So that's it from me for this week. I know it's short and a bit unscripted. I am not sponsored by anybody, but if you do or are interested in some books, then why not check out my website and check out my books, and you might be interested. I'll leave a link in the description. So have a nice day. Hope you're feeling well, and thank you very much.